Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a truly critical paradigm shift that's absolutely required for designing modern AI data infrastructure. We're actually drawing our insights from a really phenomenal architecture guide put together by Virtualization Options LLC. They're a Colorado-based technology research, education, and advisory organization. Specifically, we're looking at part 10 of their 15-part tutorial, Modern AI Storage, an Architectural Guide, and we're going to focus entirely on the crucial insights found in chapter 10. So let's just dive right into it. I want to start by hitting you with a pretty harsh economic reality. 30%. That is the typical GPU idle penalty in a poorly designed AI storage environment. I mean, think about that for a second. You or your company are spending upwards of $30,000 on a single H100 GPU, and because the storage system just can't feed it data fast enough, that incredibly expensive piece of silicon is just sitting there. It's completely idle, literally wasting capital for nearly a third of its operational life. To understand exactly why these GPUs are starving, we really have to look at the massive scale of the problem. A single 8-GPU H100 node requires over 7 terabytes per second of memory bandwidth. 7 terabytes every single second. That number completely dwarfs traditional enterprise flash arrays, which, might only deliver a tiny fraction of that to a single server. Our compute power has absolutely skyrocketed, but frankly, our traditional data pipes just aren't wide enough anymore. So, here is our roadmap for today. 1. The AI storage mandate. 2. Breaking the storage wall. 3. The new storage hierarchy. 4. Solving the checkpoint challenge. And 5. Future AI storage paradigms.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the AI storage mandate, rewriting the rules.
You see, AI workloads have fundamentally ripped up the rulebook. For decades, storage architects built for traditional enterprise workloads, which is kind of like a city grid handling random, unpredictable traffic. But AI requires a bullet train. It demands sustained, sequential bandwidth. You're reading massive data sets in a highly deterministic way over and over again across thousands of accelerators. So the primary KPI is no longer just capacity utilization, it's all about GPU saturation. If your storage can't deliver data fast enough to keep those GPUs continuously fed, well, the architecture has basically failed. Moving on to Section 2, Breaking the Storage Wall, Compute, and I/O Imbalance. To break that storage wall we just talked about, architects use a concept called the data availability boundary. This is the physical and conceptual perimeter that your data absolutely has to cross in time to avoid starving the GPU. When you think about it, designing AI storage is essentially a massive exercise in logistics. It's all about moving data across these borders securely and rapidly before the GPU finishes its current task and starts looking around for the next batch of data. Down at the very bottom, right in the widest part of the base, you have your object or tape storage. This holds petabytes of data, but accessing it takes seconds. From there, that data has to travel up through the parallel file system, which operates in milliseconds. Then, it hits the host DRAM prefetch buffer in microseconds. And finally, it arrives at the innermost boundary, the GPU high bandwidth memory, or HBM. This is where the active execution happens in nanoseconds. You've got about 80 gigabytes per GPU here, and it is without a doubt the fastest, most expensive real estate in your entire data center. That brings us to Section 3, the new storage hierarchy, beyond the classic stack. Because this data has to travel so perfectly, that old classic DRAM, SSD, HDD pyramid, it just doesn't cut it anymore. We have to design a highly dynamic 5 to 7 tier bidirectional system, starting right outside the GPU with the host DRAM layer. In modern AI servers, you're looking at anywhere from 1 to 4 terabytes of DRAM per server. And this isn't just standard memory, it actually acts as a massive staging ground. It holds the upcoming training batches and intermediate activations. It operates in microseconds, literally holding the data right at the edge, perfectly prepped to be handed off to the GPU over the PCIe or NVLink interconnect. Stepping one level down, we hit the local NVMe tier. Think of this as your high bandwidth buffer. You might have 10 to 100 terabytes of compute local NVMe SSDs packed into a single server. Its vital role is to act as a sub-millisecond hot dataset cache. It perfectly bridges that massive speed gap between your much slower network storage and that ultra-fast host DRAM we just talked about. Zooming out a bit further, we hit the storage network boundary.
This is where you're going to find petabyte-scale parallel file systems and NVMe over Fabrics arrays. Now, unlike traditional enterprise systems, these parallel file systems are built from the ground up to aggregate bandwidth linearly across multiple storage nodes. Every major AI supercomputer out there relies on this shared storage layer to serve training data across the network without creating a massive, crippling bottleneck. And underpinning all of this, that's the capacity tier. This is where you finally hit exabyte scale. Most organizations build this on object storage utilizing the super ubiquitous S3 protocol. But to balance this immense, cost-effective scale with the actual need for speed, architects use flash-fronted bucket architectures. The data lives cheaply on object storage, sure, but it gets served out of a fast NVMe flash cache for the frequently accessed training sets.
All right, Section 4, Solving the Checkpoint Challenge, Saving Model State. So we've got the data flowing in beautifully, but we also have to get it out. When you're training a frontier model, a single state snapshot can easily reach hundreds of terabytes. It's honestly like forgetting to save your video game right before the final boss. If you crash here, you lose a whole day of $30,000 a pop GPU compute time. But here's the catch. If you pause the whole system to slowly write those terabytes, you completely tank your efficiency. To solve this huge tension between resilience and throughput, architects use something called asynchronous tiered checkpointing. The mechanics behind it are actually brilliant. First, a checkpoint is triggered. Second, the model state is quickly serialized in memory, so it's moved from the GPU's HBM to the host's DRAM. Third, and this is the key, it executes an async write to storage. It dumps that checkpoint to the incredibly fast local NVMe storage immediately, meaning the GPUs can resume training right away. Then, quietly in the background, it migrates that data down to the durable shared parallel file system. You get the safety of the save without the painful pause.
And finally, Section 5, Future AI Storage Paradigms, 2027 and beyond. As we look ahead to 2027, things like agentic AI and massive large language models are going to push our current architectures to their absolute limits. We're looking at a huge wave of emerging technologies, like AI-native file systems and software-defined storage completely tailored for Kubernetes-orchestrated GPU clusters. But the one I really want to highlight is computational storage units, or CSUs. Just imagine integrating compute capabilities directly into the storage hardware. Instead of dragging massive datasets all the way across the network to the CPU just for filtering or decompression, the storage layer processes it right there on the drive. It drastically reduces network data movement.
So the crucial point to take away is this. The future is entirely about disaggregation and pooling. Utilizing technologies like CXL, which stands for Compute Express Link, the ultimate goal is to completely decouple compute, memory, and storage. Instead of having physical boxes trapping your resources, everything becomes a shared, dynamically allocated, intelligent fabric. You scale exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, eliminating those data silos entirely. Which leaves us with one incredibly important question to ask ourselves as we design these data centers. Will your storage architecture feed the future of AI, or will it starve it? The infrastructure you build today literally dictates the limits of your algorithms tomorrow. You have to ruthlessly pursue performance optimization in your data centers, because removing that storage bottleneck, it's really the only way to truly fuel the next generation of AI innovation. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.